ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Online Darts Fallout Bar for the 2025 Paddy Power World Darts Championships. As we come to an end of day 4, and Carwyn Evans, when we did our little plan of who was going to do what this week, did you, like me, look at this thinking, there's only 4 games, that's not going to be a late night?
I looked at it and I thought, ooh, a nice and early one. We'll whittle through the games because they looked like they could all be over and done with within a matter of an hour. And little did I know, eh?
That was right. I've gone through all the different. Let's be honest. There was a highlight, and we'll come to that. And we'll come to the highlight in a little minute. We'll get to talk about our kind sponsors, Paddy Power, and the very cool things that they're doing for people. But beyond that highlight, beyond one leg, I struggled for adjectives, and I can almost say, some darts happened today. There were some darts that took place. We'll try and guide you through it, folks, but this wasn't the most engaging and exciting session of darts that we've seen.
Painful at times.
Was a bit, wasn't it? Just a touch. Well done, and thank you very much, folks, in the chat room for joining us. We are a little bit later than usual. It's not our fault. We wanted to be here an hour ago, I promise you. But we've already got some engagement in the chat room. Norville's in. James is in as well. Bob, one of the members, is in, as are Patrick and Daz. Ross is in as well. So is Max and Josh. The usual crowd are all in nice and early. If you're watching and you find you can't get involved in the chat room, that is because you're not subscribed. It's a little rule that we have where you need to be subscribed to the channel in order to get involved in the chat room. So please do hit the subscribe button. We will take you through, as always, again, a little bit shorter than normal because we've had 8 games a day to talk about this week. We've only got 4, so the focus of today's show will probably be a little bit more on predicting, just because there's not as much to talk about today. Correct, Bob. £60,000 won by a fan. Not to also forget the additional £60,000 given to Christian Kist, and probably most importantly, arguably, £60,000 given to Prostate UK as well by sponsors Paddy Power. We will come to that when we do the game, because we will stick to a format at which we're familiar with, where we go through the games in order, simply because if we don't at this time of night, Carl and I will both get lost. We'll either review the same game 3 times and or miss one, and it won't go to plan. So we'll start at the beginning of the night, and I almost feel a little bit guilty, Carwyn, as our Welsh correspondent, the ambassador for Wales among the Online Darts team, bringing you to this because whilst Jim Williams has had an up and down 18 months, and albeit without too many ups, he was still a very heavy favourite going into this. Certainly, the bookmakers weren't giving Nebrida a chance. Very few people were picking Paulo and Nebrida in this one, regardless of Jim Williams' form. This is a man who is still currently ranked in the World Top 50. And we know what game he's got in him. We know his capabilities. We also know that he's come up here and he's averaged 94. What on earth went wrong here?
Well, good question, because if you look at all the stats, they all point to a comfortable Jim Williams victory. Obviously, the most important one is the scoreline, and Jim missed too many darts in the deciding set, and Nebrida took his chances. I don't want to sort of do Nebrida a disservice here, but to me, that felt like a stereotypically Jim Williams performance when he's favourite. When he's not favourite, he seems to do the job and get over the line. We saw it last year in the Worlds when he beat Peter Wright, but it sort of sums up his 18 months really. As he's averaged 894, he's at six maximums, taken out a beautiful 158, over 30% on his doubles, and somehow managed to lose. He'll certainly be kicking himself because I imagine it spoils their Christmas when they're out before Christmas, because you sort of work up for a good run, hopefully, into post-Christmas, and now he's got a week of twiddling his thumbs and wondering what if.
And it is with the greatest respect to Paulo Nebrida that I say this, but Jim Williams must have come into this match expecting to win, expecting to win this and win it handily. I don't think he came into this, Jim Williams, thinking, he's going to get pushed all the way and he might grind out a decider, or, he should have been all over this. And I suspect that Jim Williams had as much to do with Jim Williams being beaten today than Paulo Nebrida was. I think it was almost a 50-50 effort between the pair of them to ensure that Jim Williams didn't progress to the next round.
Yeah, 100%. It's frustrating from a Welsh point of view, because I think he had enough in the tank to go on a good run, but he can only blame himself. If you don't hit, was it 7 match starts I think he had? If you don't hit a double in 7 match starts, you're not going to win many matches on the Ali Pali stage.
This is it. You are just making life far too hard for yourself, isn't it? That's all it is. You are taking all the chances you create and one by one hoying them out of the window. We will. So we haven't got interviews in the back end. I think it's all a little bit chaotic at Alexandra Palace today. I think the event that we're soon to talk about has taken up much of the media time and efforts and energy. So what we will do, folks, as always, Phil will be speaking to all of the winners. All of those interviews will be found on our YouTube channel. So over the course of the next day or so, just before the action starts tomorrow, make sure you check out the YouTube channel, because all of the interviews are in there. We haven't got any. I'm going to double check and triple check again, but I don't think Phil has yet managed to get any into the back end for us for the show. Well, that's fine, because we've got plenty of darts to still talk about and plenty to predict for tomorrow. So we are not running out of content. Don't worry, folks. And I'll tell you what's terrible. I flick back to today's results, and all of a sudden it's tomorrow's fixtures.
No. Horrible, isn't it?
That's a terrible feeling when we're here. Just a quick, Bob's mentioning there, have you ever fallen asleep at the darts? Never, but I've never fallen asleep at the darts. I have fallen asleep watching darts. It happened yesterday when you will have noticed a 2-man fallout team, because it all got a bit too much for me. Early mornings, busy work, and I decided it was probably just time to get asleep instead of watching Peter Wright. Nothing to do with Peter Wright. I just couldn't keep my eyes open. Right, next one. And then I suppose there's two sides. I mean, first and foremost, we do have to highlight that we had a remarkable scene at Alexandra Palace. And I would say, in terms of crowd excitement and celebration and everything else, this was as big as we've seen, because Paddy Power have put that extra incentive there. Now, it's very, we have to point out, this is a huge lump of money to be paid to the players. £60,000 just to put that into perspective, at this event, which is the biggest and highest paid PDC event of the ranked event of the year, a quarter finalist gets paid 50 grand. So if you make a quarter final at this event, you get £50,000. Christian Kist has just banked himself £60,000 to add to the £7,500 first round loser money, which we'll get to in a moment. So Christian Kist comes away from this event £67,500 richer. There was a £60,000 donation to Prostate Cancer UK and one lucky fan in the audience. I don't know how it's picked. I don't know if it's completely random. I don't know if they did. I don't know if there's a method. We shall find out. We shall look into that, because I'm interested to know. I don't know if you get a ticket. I don't know if it's a raffle. I don't know if they draw seat numbers. I have absolutely no idea. We'll look into that, because it's intriguing. Nova's brother was in the crowd. He did not win 60,000. Yes, but there was a moment, and we all saw it. We all saw it on the television when John came out, and there was a period of time where every single person in that venue was a potential £60,000 winner, and they all knew it would be somebody. And everybody looked left and looked right, and was it you? Was it me? Was it? And that was it was a very fun moment to watch, even though that I wasn't there. Very interesting. I mean, Paddy Power have added huge dynamics. They've added a great deal. Their social interaction, their social content is, for me, unmatched across really all sorts of sports media and general entertainment. They are the goat. But they've managed to come up with a concept with this £180,000 prize for the 9 data, which is, we've seen it there. We've taken a player who would have left the tournament with £7,500. Probably not a prediction, it's not a hugely lucrative endeavour for him, but he's done one very special thing, one special leg of darts, and he's made more money than the quarterfinalists have in one leg. Now, that is a novelty and it's cool. And I like that opportunity. I like the idea. Anybody in this tournament, regardless of how far you go, you can go out in the first round and go home with 67.5 grand. Very, very cool. But the £60,000 to Prostate UK, there's nobody with a brain cell that's going to say that isn't a brilliant thing. Superb.
Yeah.
But there was a genuinely magical few minutes in the crowd where anybody in that room could have been the person. It's a very cool concept, isn't it?
Oh, exactly. It adds to the drama, to the excitement. It keeps the crowd involved. It's a genius move, and it keeps people talking about them and sharing their content. Because, as you say, it is some of the funniest content out there. Whoever's behind the content creation are geniuses, because it's engaging, it's funny, it's relevant, and doing such things, I think it'll only help them. And obviously whoever's going to Ali Pali now, they'll be praying for a 9 data, because, as you say, for a few minutes they may be dreaming of spending £60,000 they'll win for just buying a ticket to watch a game of that.
I genuinely love that. Like I say, that division of 180 is brilliant. It's a lovely number.
Yeah.
Well, that division of it happens, and we get a huge injection of cash to a very deserving charity. We get a key injection, and let's be honest, right? There are certain players in the world, and there's nobody so rich that they don't care about getting 60 grand. But there are some players on that tour that, I don't know Christian Kist's financial details. £60,000 to some people could be life-changing. Some people will pay off their mortgage if they had 60 grand. It's a huge number of money, and that's very exciting. I think that the division into those 3 pots, it ticks a lot of boxes, and it's to see it happen is brilliant. It's really entertaining. However, that aside, this was it was a good game. It was a good game played at a good standard. I expected Madars Razma to win this game handily, and outside of that 9 dart leg, whilst we saw a good standard, both dart players averaging 50% on their doubles, 90 plus averages, it was a good game of darts, but it was other than the 9 dart, it was a little bit what everyone expected, wasn't it?
Yeah, funny enough, this is how I envisage this game playing out, with Christian Kist winning the first set and Razma getting back into it and winning 3-1. What I didn't expect was the 9 data to clinch the first set, which obviously drives everybody crazy. And I did think the fact that he hit the 9 data to win the set and there was a break set after it, I actually thought it would have calmed him down and he would come out and probably started the second set stronger. Couldn't maintain his level, and Razma, he throws the rule book out when it comes to playing darts and does what he wants, and it works for him. And around that 90 average is probably what I expected from him. 50% of the doubles, you're going to be competitive. You're going to be in any match if you're sort of anywhere close to that. But I think the result eventually went the way most people would have thought. Although I think we had a few mention maybe Kist winning 3-2 last night, but based on form and confidence and everything like that, I think Razma winning was expected.
He's one of those players, I think, Razma, where you're very rarely going to see a monster performance from him.
No.
But the variance between his sort of A, B, and C game isn't very big. So you will generally always see him around that level. You know, you very consistently can find a sort of 90 to 93 average, 40% on the doubles. And if you're not playing well, he'll beat you. And that's sort of what, when he goes on a run, you see him go on a deep run through a pro or something. When you generally look through the results from that day, it's not often that you'll see he's chucked in a 104 or he's bashed someone up. He's generally, someone's averaged 89 and he's beaten them. Like, he takes advantage a lot of when other people aren't completely on it. Now, again, looking at the figures there, it doesn't appear that Christian Kist has done a lot wrong, but I think Maris Rosmer, just timing was good, right things at the right time. Obviously, there's a lot on a 9 dart, and it can change a lot on the stage as well. And there's people who are far better statisticians than I that'll tell you all sorts about how often people who throw 9 darters don't actually win the game, because it can all become a little bit too much for them, and it becomes a huge adrenaline dump. But a moderately entertaining game. But again, like, for me, what I expected to happen happened, and it was all right. It was a decent game. I look forward to seeing Mathers a bit later, because he is a player that I often enjoy watching, because I think his sometimes almost scattergun approach to throwing darts at a board, it can everyone knows I love chaos, and he is a chaotic player, so it makes for a good watch. I will move on from chaos, because, by God, like, we're going to talk about some players that have made hard work of winning a match. And there are few examples, certainly, that we've seen so far in the tournament, of a player making as much a harder work, as harder work as Ricky Evans did with this one. Because I've never seen Ricky look so uncomfortable on stage. You know, we're so used to seeing him with these exaggerated walk-ons, the joker of the pack off. You know, we see him laughing and joking, and he's an entertainer. And the style of darts he has was entertaining. But I can't recall seeing him look so uncomfortable on a stage.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it was nerves or what, but there was something that he wasn't the flamboyant entertainer we're used to seeing. It felt like he was treating it a bit too serious. The importance of the game, and maybe he's had a look at the draw and thought, oh, well, if I win this, I've got Chisholm, he's not playing great, I've got a chance there again. But I think when Ricky's at his best is when he's almost just sort of not thinking about darts and just throwing them within a matter of seconds, running around the stage, dancing, whatever. Even when he won the game, his celebration was a bit, I don't know if it's the word boring, but maybe quieter than what we're used to seeing when he wins a match, especially the pre-Christmas game, because he gets the Christmas song going in his walk-on. He's got the glasses, he's got the hat, he's got the shirt and everything, and everything was there apart from his energy. And
there was an interview, quite an interesting interview, a piece that Abby Davies did with Ricky just prior to his game, where he talked about slowing his throw down, purposefully slowing his throw down, and I don't think that's a great idea. Like, I think Ricky is at his best the more relaxed he can be, and I think Ricky Evans is a player that doesn't have to and shouldn't think about it too much. I think the fact that he throws so quickly, it gives him no time to reflect on a bad dart. It gives him no time to second guess himself. And that, I think, is perfect for him. I think it's thud, 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 thud. Sometimes they go as clean as a whistle. Other times, maybe not. But I think just every time he slows it down, and slowing it down, what it does is it gives him more thinking time. It gives him more time to analyse. It gives him more time to change his mind. It gives him more time to... And I don't think that I don't think he's a player that suits. I think him, like Michael Smith, like a couple of, of the faster players, they're at their best when they flow. And I think anything he does to artificially try and slow that down and control it more, the theory behind it might be great, in practice, I don't think it works for him. There was an awful lot. It didn't get picked up on comms tonight, but he seemed. I don't know whether it was just a frustration, but he seemed to be like shaking his arm out, shaking. I couldn't quite work out whether it was a grip thing. I couldn't work out if he was shaking his arm, but there seemed to be a lot of exaggerated sort of things with the arm that I don't know whether there is something not quite right.
And it felt like he was letting that frustration take over, where had he been at his usual pace and what have you, he wouldn't have had time to think about that. And I just think you can throw fast and be controlled. And I think it's that control he needs to work on, not the pace of his throw. Don't change that because it works for you. But the way you control the emotion of the speed you throw is what he needs to work on and keep at the pace, because when he's in full flow, he's such a great watch. And yes, he can be a bit erratic, but I think that adds to his personality and his character, and it makes him likable in the fact that, yeah, he'll hit a 180 followed by a 26 and laugh it off and give it the old oh and what have you. But
there was a few today where, because we get that from Ricky, and we get that, and sometimes he's the entertainment, isn't he? Or he can be he plays the clown. But there were some of those, and he was going to cut those darts from the ball, and it wasn't like oh dear, it was like you could see him like visibly getting, and we don't see that a lot from Ricky. And I hope that when he comes back and we see him against Dave Chisnell, we see a much more relaxed. It's strange, isn't it? Normally you'd say, like, when you want someone to relax, you want them to slow down. But Ricky's the opposite.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
To relax and just sort of like light the fuse, which is what I think wasn't happening today. Not a game that's going to go down in the record books as a fantastic watch. That the standard wasn't amazing, but the most important thing, I think, certainly for Ricky Evans, is that tick in the W in the column, that move through to the next round, that fixture against Dave Chisnell to focus on over Christmas. Right. Well, this was a funny old game as well. Last one for the day. Because, I mean, by hell did this. I mean, it was a 3-1 game. And I'll be honest, it felt like 9-8. Like, it felt like the game lasted forever. And we were darts away from another set, weren't we? Like, we got, like, I think both players, I mean, you might disagree completely. I think both players completely underwhelmed today. Aspinall, I'm not quite sure what to make of it. It was, there was snippets, slithers, little bits of what we know is Nathan Aspinall was in there today. It wasn't so much in his scoring. His doubling was quite good. His doubling was good. The 114 was beautiful. Yeah. Really impressive. Gates was unpredictable, like a mile away at times. His doubling was, I mean, the stats don't look that bad because he's at 30%, but he got 23 darts at a double. So the percentage doesn't really tell you that much. Like, he created a lot he was offered a lot of chances by Nathan. Nathan gave him loads of chances where Leonard came with 3 in hand, and he came and a full visit passed by, and he couldn't get it done. I think Nathan has got away with murder, because if he was playing someone other than Leonard Gates, he won't be in the next round after that.
Oh no, and I'm a big Aspinall fan, but I've never been so delighted to see a game finish, because I think had that gone to a 5th set, God help us, we'd still be watching. Gates just, he did what I expected really, and not improve from his win against Cameron Menzies. I feel that's sort of the level his game's at, and I know Asp wasn't. He's still sort of struggling a bit. I don't want to mention that word, but his throw's not smooth, not flowing, and it's clearly on his mind. And I just hope he can find another gear, because the doubling was there, the finishing, the big finishes were there. It was just the scoring was lackluster, and it just felt felt like a real struggle. And I know they didn't start till 10:30, was it? I can't remember what time it was now, but it felt like playing that game was hard work for both players, and it just meant the evening ended in a very slow and torturous manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucked the life out that game. And it's unusual because in any other environment, Leonard Gates is the party boy, he's the dancing on stage and high-fiving everybody. Nathan Aspinall, arguably to many people, not to me, but many, the best walk-on in darts. He's the party, these two meeting, it should be a dream for somewhere like Alexandra Palace. This should have been a headline event, but it just seemed to drag life force from the room and from everybody watching. It was a tough watch. I think Nathan will want to not dwell on it too much and simply, move on, get on with this game. The important thing was to not fall at the first hurdle, which he has done, which he did last year. Hasn't done it this year, so he comes back after Christmas and he's got that time with his family, and he comes back and goes again. Right, don't forget, folks, all of the interviews, all of the winners for tonight, Phil will be uploading. I'm sure he's working very hard on it at the moment to get them into our YouTube channel. So at your leisure, once you finish listening to me and Carwin, you can go to our YouTube channel and find all of the interviews with today's winners. So it's now prediction time for today. Oh, that is a stick. You have to say today instead of tomorrow. My goodness.
12 hours will be starting.
Stop it, I'll still be at work anyway. Right, so don't forget, in the chat room, get your predictions in. Let's see what you think is going to happen. We're still on the same format. We haven't changed. All the games this side of the year are these set-based, first to three set format. So, we're going to get through them fairly quickly because it's really late. So, I will come to you first, Carwin, for your prediction for Chris Landman against Loch Yin Lee. Crikey, it's late.
It is late, yeah. We'll forgive you for that. I think Landman will have too much in this one. I think he may even win 3-0. Yeah, I'm going to go for a 3-0 Landman win there.
Yeah, Loch Yin Lee he's not a player that I'm hugely familiar with, primarily because of the time difference. It's not easy for me to keep up with the Asian Premier League. I know he's won a couple of tournaments on the Asian Tour, but we've seen other players who've won a couple of tournaments on the Asian Tour, and when they've met a tour card holder, the difference has been significant, to say the least. And because of that, I am inclined to go a 3-0 Landman win. But I know that all these Asian players have got a game in them, so it wouldn't shock me to see him take a set. He holds his throw and he's got a set. If you can get a set just by holding a few legs. So but I'm still doing 3-0. James has got a 3-0 Landman win. Nova's given him a couple. He's gone 3-2. Daniel has gone 3-0 as well. Joe, I think we know that. We'll all know. We're not experts on the Asian Tour over here. Bob, who might be.
Yeah.
I won't ever, sort of put my hands up to expert Bob. Bob's gone Loch Yin Lee 3-1. Daz has agreed with us as well. He's gone 3-0 Landman. Very sure. Next one. Okay, we are going to rattle through them. Come on, in the chat room, give me a proper phonetic pronunciation before I make an ass of it. Callan Rids, are we going Grobak? Are we happy with that? Grobak?
I'm happy to go back to call him Romeo by his first name if you want.
Yeah. How many will Callan beat Romeo by?
I think it all depends what Callum Rydz turns up on stage, if he's in a good place and he just plays the board and doesn't think about anything else, he wins comfortably. I do think Romeo wins a set, but I think Rydz wins 3-1, and it's going to be a start of Callum Rydz getting back to his best, hopefully.
Oh, well, that is the sort of thing that excites me. Joel, be very careful. Borders on offensive. Well, it is no secret, we see what he did at match play a few years ago. It is absolutely no secret the game that Callum Rydz has got in him. He's got so much potential. He's still a very, very young man. He came through that Eastern European qualifier, Romeo. I think that Rydz on a stinker still bashes him up pretty easily, and I'm not even doing the Dan's got his Newcastle shirt on thing, and going 3-0, but I'm gonna go 3-0 again. I think we rattle through this afternoon session. I think it's another 3-0. Daniel Lucas agrees with me. James thinks it's going to be a little bit tighter. Norville gets a Rydz 3-1. I will not like it one bit, Joel, but I'm happy to come back tomorrow. And I'm not back tomorrow, actually. It's a work Christmas too, but I won't be back tomorrow. But I will allow someone else to predict for you tomorrow. Daz is winning 3-1. Bob again. I tell you what, Bob is on underdogs tomorrow. Bob, I tell you what, Bob with Paddy Power tomorrow is going to be absolutely huge. He's making proper coin. to Callum Rydz as well. And do you know what? I don't want to sound too repetitive, folks, but I'm going to really struggle to not pick a 3-0 Martin Lukeman win, because Nitin Kumar, again, he can throw a dart. He's all right. Martin Lukeman, though, is a man on the up. We've seen some superb darts from him, and I don't think this could be 9-0 in legs.
Sorry, I'm doing a bit of counting back here. So in his 3 previous appearances on the Ali Pally stage, Kumar has only won 9 legs and hasn't won a set. So I think it's impossible not to see a Lukeman 3-0 win, because, as you say, he's playing phenomenal dash. And it's hard to see Kumar winning a leg unless he hits a 180 in the first 6 darts. I think that's how. Yeah, that's how Lukeman's playing, I think, and his doubling always seems to be solid as well. So it's not like he's going to be giving chances at the end of legs. So you may well be right in a 3-0, 9-0 whitewash.
I think I'm going to have a word with Mr. Gob, as my young lad Billy calls him, or Mr. Gob. I've never known. It always calls him Mr. Gob. He's polite. So I think I'll have a word with Mr. Gob and see if we can get a Martin Lukeman call. Is slid into the back end, because I have a sneaky suspicion we might get a few more opportunities to use it as this competition moves on. Yeah, 3-0 Martin Lukeman seems to be the call. Patrick is in agreement, as is Joel. No, but yeah, I'm going to take that in legs, and I tend to agree, mate. I think we're pretty much on it there, Norville. James has gone 3-1. Lukeman, Kumar's found a few, and he did find a few 12-15 darters in the Indian qualifier. I think he'll need to find a 12 or 15 darter to win a leg, but he hasn't found one on the Alexandra Palace stage against Martin Lukeman. Bob knows the crack now. He's back on. The Acker's coming down, mine. all the value in the Bob Acker's come now, and now he's gone Lukeman. Daz and Daniel Lucas as well, both on 3-0. So a heavy prediction from the chat room that Lukeman will win 3-0. And the headline tomorrow now, I've already tonight I busied myself writing some words to be published tomorrow morning. And of course we got 2 seeds tomorrow, so you find yourself leaning towards a bit of a discussion about that. Gabriel Clemens, since he had 2 semi-finals last year, Players' Championship final and a World Championship final. We had 2 semi-finals. Year before last, sorry. Since then, he's done absolutely bugger all, and he's been now. I know this is going to struggle. You're going to struggle here because I know what your heart is.
Don't jinx it.
And what your head's telling you.
Yeah.
But I think Clemens will have enough. But this is not an easy game. And I feel like we might see something almost similar to the Ricky Evans game in terms of like levels. And I don't mean in terms of, the behaviour of play, but I just think we might see, mistakes made, things you expect to happen, not happen, things to be a bit topsy-turvy, the pendulum to swing a little bit from side to side. But I just think that the ability of Clemens will get him over the line, I think. 3-2.
Yeah.
I'll go 3-2.
3-2. Yeah. I think that in Robert Owen's first game, it was a free hit in terms of if he wins, he's got a chance to keep his tour card. If he doesn't, that's that. Now, the pressure changes because if he wins tomorrow, he's in that provisional keeping hold of his tour card spot. So the pressure is on him now to win that game. I didn't back him on Monday and he did the job, but I don't feel like I can't back him again. I think the game will be won in the first 2 sets. If it's not 2-0 to Rob Owen, Clemens wins. If it's 2-0 to Rob Owen, he wins.
Oh, I like that. I like that as an unpicking of how the game might play out. I think that's a good analysis. I'm having that.
Yeah. So based on that, Rob Owen wins 3-1.
Yeah, based on him going 2-0. I love it.
So he's gone 2-0 up. He loses a third set, gets over the line of the 4th.
Good. See that we might need it. Some, we've been setting. We got some more buttons to do. We might need a dragon at some point, mightn't we? We've got the party alarm. We might have to get you something in there. We might need some sort of dragon there whenever we get something good from a Welsh player, especially what with Q School coming up and lots of exciting streams coming along. We might need
yeah.
We can do to get a dragon involved. Let's have a little look. See what we've got in here. Daniel. Oh, Christ, we're higher than that. We've got loads of predictions. Patrick's gone 3-1 Owen. I assume he's a fellow countryman. Norville
he is for tomorrow anyway.
All of us lads for it tonight. Norville's gone Owen as well. Joe's gone 3-2 Owen. He's gone 3-2 Clemens. Daniel Lucas has gone 3-2 Clemens as well. Daz has gone 3-2 Stack Attack. Bob has gone 3-2 Stack Attack as well. Both players under pressure. Joe's late in, but it's good to have you along as always, Joe. Nice to see you. Joe's gone Clemens 3-1. Delboy's gone 3-1 as well. I worry that Clemens can be a bit self-destructive at the minute, that's all. I just think he's got the potential to throw a complete stinker. And Rob Owen could just be poised to take advantage. I think he could not play amazing and win. Both players could. Both players could play crap and win. We shall very, very much see. Quite exciting, I think. Looking forward to watching it. Moving into the evening. And the Welsh Dragon Rose again. Because we've gone back-to-back Welshmen. We're having a little break in between them. And this is maybe a game that many will consider certainly tighter than the other one. a lot of people have got this as a bit of a toss of a coin. I'm not convinced. But what do you make of Nick Kenny against Stowe Bunce?
Now, I've got a bit of inside information of how Nick Kenny's been playing in local leagues. And I know you cannot compare local leagues to the Ali Pali stage, but he has been throwing some ridiculous stats in leagues around South Wales and hitting some crazy things. So he's going there full of confidence and a lot of people believing that he can do well here. So I think he wins. I think he wins quite comfortably. I'm going to go 3-1 Nick Kenny.
Yeah, I had a chat with Billy about this earlier, my young lad, because he put Stowe Bunce in his fantasy darts team. In his outsiders, that he had to pick an outsider. And there are lots of people in this opening round that I would have happily picked Stowe Bunce against. Like, there's loads that Stowe Bunce, he's got a proper game in him. We've seen him get turned over on a big stage, but we've also seen him turn up and do some damage. And I genuinely think the guy is a toss of a coin. I think, and I don't so much. I think if you take Nick Kenny out of the equation, I think Stowe Bunce himself is a bit of a coin toss as to whether you'll get a massive performance or he might come and throw bobbins. A lot of the bookies have got. Well, in fact, there's a decent spread, and that some of the bookies have got this almost even, and some have got Nick Kenny a very heavy favourite. I think they're probably right having Nick Kenny a heavy favourite. I think it's a 3-1 Nick Kenny victory. But if I tuned in tomorrow and Bunce won 3-1 the other way, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd just think, all right, yeah, that version of Stowe Bunce turned up. Like that's the one that does that on a big stage. So yeah, I think it's quite an interesting game. I hope it doesn't disappoint. Dan Lucas has gone 3-2 to Bunce. Joe's gone 3-0 Nick Kenny. Kenny needs to win 2 games to keep his car. There's a few players in that position, and they also I don't know, a few of the Welsh lads in that. Daz has gone 3-2 Kenny. James has gone 3-1 Kenny. Jamie's 3-1 Kenny. Lots of Kenny picks in the chat room. I don't know whether this hive mind's a reassurance to you, Cowan, because of the depth of knowledge in there, or are we just all sealing his fate in there? As well. Prediction Bob has gone 3-1. God, Emac, there you go. There's your
yeah, that's the kiss of death there.
Bob's gone 3-1 Bunce. Del Boy's gone 3-1, 3-2 to Bunce. Again, if it happened, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
No, not at all.
It's just which one will turn up. North American interest. I wonder how Anthony every now and again does get stuck in, in the chat room. Even if you're watching this back, Anthony, if you're around tomorrow, there's a couple of North Americans involved, and if you're around Fallout time, we definitely have you along. You could definitely join in, because our North American expert would be a great addition, I think, for tomorrow's show. Because we're going to another, a man that came through that qualifying event, played some great darts to get there. Now this is a one, again, there's a few games, and I like to be able to say it. Toss of a coin this for me. Matt Campbell against Menchie Suljovic. Again, I think there's 2 versions of both of them. And I think either version of either one, we could get the brilliant version of both, or the shit version of both of them, or one or the other. This could be the game of the day, or it could stink out the place, couldn't it?
Oh, yeah. As in, I think ranking-wise, they're pretty much neck and neck. Form, you'd probably argue both are not playing great, but are more than capable of hitting silly numbers. I hope it lives up to the potential of this game, because it could be a classic. I think both players fancy their chances. I think it's Ryan Searle for whoever wins, which is a winnable game. So they could be thinking deep. I quite fancy Campbell to get the job done. I've got a feeling he may want it a bit more. He's got, obviously, Suljovic doesn't show much in terms of excitement, but I don't know. I fancy Campbell doing this one, but I think it's going deep. I think we could be last leg decider maybe. So 3-2 Campbell.
I think just on form, we saw a little bit from Suljovic earlier in the year. Suljovic hasn't won a match since October. He hasn't won a darts match. He went to the Grand Slam, got pumped, 3 matches on the spin, went out in the first round of the Players' Championship finals. He hasn't won a game for ages of any kind. And Matt Campbell maybe just coming through that qualifier might just feel that extra bit of just fresh. Winning's a habit, and he's won 5 games just to get this opportunity, and he's done that in the last couple of weeks. So I do think it's form wise, you've got to look at Matt Campbell. And as long as Matt Campbell turns up and switches his head on and plays, Matt Campbell wins. Because I think the current version of Menchie Suljovic doesn't beat the A games of both of these players as they are at present. I think Matt Campbell edges it at the minute. Matt Campbell's got a big ceiling, and Menchie has not been at his ceiling for a long time. I think it's going to be tight. I'll go 3-2 Campbell. We've got a lot of predictions coming in the chat room. We'll go through them. I mean, that is something that. What have we got there? Daniel Lucas has gone 3-2 Mencia. Joe's gone 3-1 Mencia. James has been remarkably specific, and if that happens, we'll be high-fiving strangers on the night bus, James. Campbell lays up a bull finish. Suljovic takes out 1-6-1 to win 3-2. Beautiful. Well, imagine. Mencia 3-1. Won't be a good match, but there'll be a winner. Yeah, Bob, you're probably right. 3-1 Campbell says Daz. Norville's got 3-1 as well. Joe's also got 3-1, but the other way, he's got that to Suljovic. Patrick's on 3-2 Suljovic. Yeah, but it's one game that's I said at the beginning that I felt it was a bit of a Delboy's gone 3-2 Suljovic as well. I think I said at the beginning I think it's a coin toss, and the chat room's gone about half and half on it. So I think we're probably reading the room about right. Now, here's another one, right? So Scott Williams was a semi-finalist last year. He hasn't managed to back that up with a year's worth of brilliant darts. I haven't watched, I'll put my hands up, I haven't watched a huge amount of Nico Springer. But everybody that I know and trust in their knowledge of darts keep telling me what a special talent he is and how much potential he's got, and that not in the future or in 6-7 months time or 3-5 years time, but now Nico Springer could do massive things. People keep telling me that this is a proper, and I've just not seen enough of him. I know he's played some Super Series in Portsmouth. Some of the team have seen him right up close. I mean, my instinct is just I don't know enough about Springer. And Williams, I know he's got the game, semi-finals last year. We've seen a lot of stuff from him, but I don't know. Could be all sorts, couldn't it? This again could be an amazing game.
Yeah, I happened to catch Springer's last appearance at the Modus on finals night, and up until the semi-final against Neil Duff, I thought he was going to win the entire event because he looked quality. He then bottled it a bit when it mattered, and I just wonder if the Ali Pali stage may have that effect on him tomorrow. And I think Williams is streetwise enough to know if he can, not bully, that's the wrong word, but if he can intimidate his opponent, he will. He's got that bit of bravado about him, which I I think may come out on show tomorrow. So I think Williams wins. I think he wins 3-1, I think, and celebrates in a Williams sort of way as he hops into the second round.
I'm going to go slightly wider. I'm going to go. No, I'm not. I'm going to stick closer. I'm going to rely on the people that I know that tell me all about that. And I'm going to go 3-2. I still think it's Williams. I think there is a very little substitution. Like, everyone plays darts very well. Experience is a big thing. And I think Scott Williams gained an awful lot of experience on that stage last year. And I think that will come into play tomorrow. I think just that experience, being able to settle himself, being able to keep himself comfortable. So I think it was a Scotty Williams win. Dan Lucas is in first again. He's always in first, Dan. Williams winning 3-1. Daz has got 3-2. Williams James just got 3-2. Williams as well. Bob's just said Springer. Oh, but if he wasn't a member, I'd never put out there because we like specifics. Before he puts it in there, 3-1. He's gone. And Nico Springer. Melville's gone Williams winning 3-2. He only wants the odds on a Scott Williams blind 180. I can only recommend them. Paddy Power are a recommended bookmakers. Go to Paddy Power. I don't know if you odds, email them. They might give you odds. Who knows? Jamie's gone 3-1. Williams, again, you think probably has too much. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. But I think genuinely interesting game. Again, some really fascinating games tomorrow. The final one sees our second seed of the day in a repeat of last year's opening match. Opening day match, opening evening match is Kevin Dukes takes on Michael Smith. He took a 2-1 lead last year and he really pushed him to the brink. Michael Smith managed to just get past. The odds are staggering and do not reflect how close that was last year. With Michael Smith's 1-4 on, he's a very heavy favourite. I mean, we know he's Michael Smith, but he's had an intermittent year, and it was close last year, wasn't it, Cowan? Do you buy into any of that, or do you think he battered him
up? I think maybe Dotes' performance the other night has helped the bookmakers make Smith such a heavy favourite because if he plays like that, then it won't get anywhere near where it was last year. If he puts in a similar performance to last year, then he could push him all the way. I just don't know. I don't know. As in, I'd like to see Dotes win, but I just think Michael Smith will have too much, and I think it's going to be a case of deja vu, and Smith wins 3-2 again.
I think Michael Smith comes out flying. I think Michael Smith gets off to a cracker. And I think he goes bonkers and beats him 3-0, but wins in style, is my prediction for tomorrow. I think we haven't seen a great deal of Michael Smith in the last 2 years. We're not playing quality darts. We know that he won the World Cup and he had a couple of other runs here and there, semi-final, got to Premier League finals night. He's still Michael Smith. He's still got that game in him. And I just think he turns up and has enough with. I think Dukes frightened him last year, but he was a mile away last year, and he's much closer now. So I don't think it runs close. I think it's a Michael Smith 3-0 win. Let's have a little look what we've got in here. I look for Daniel Lucas's name often because he often gets him first. That's more where I start, but he's been beaten. I think James has gone this way. 3-2 Smith, same again. Joel has gone 3-1. Daniel Lucas is in there with 3-2 to Dukes. He thinks he gets the job done this year. Joel's a 3-1. Nova's a 3-1 as well. No one's with me on a 3-0 Smith. No one thinks he's up for it. Jamie's gone 3-2 Smith again. James actually, he's good. He's a good on a specific prediction. Is James? I think 8 perfect darts at some point. Bob has gone Bully Boy 3-1. Dukes won't have the crowd, and Daz has gone 3-2 Smith with a 9 or 10.
Street to finish.
Yeah, that's magnificent. Right, folks. is very late. Thank you all very much for staying with us as late as you have. It's very much appreciated. You all got busy things to do tomorrow. Well, maybe you've not. Maybe you've got now to do. You can all sleep in. I won't. I'll be at work. Thanks, guys. It's been good fun again. We've got a nice chat about tomorrow. All the predictions are in the can. Again, don't forget, you can find all the interviews with today's winners on our YouTube channel. A bit of an underwhelming night tonight in terms of the action. However, we did see that magnificent 9-dart finish and the big 180 payout from Paddy Power, which is worth mentioning just again because of how stupendously good it is. Carwyn, thanks again for joining me for the Fallout this evening. I think, is it you and Cam tomorrow back? I think
I think so. Yeah, I think.
I'm tied up on my work's due tomorrow, so I should leave you to get on with it. Thanks, folks in the chat room, for getting involved. It does make everything a lot easier and a lot more fun when you're involved with your opinions and predictions as well. We will be back tomorrow, regardless of who's sat in the chair. We have been Online Darts. Thank you, Carwyn. I've been Dan Simpson, and we'll see you all again. Take care. Good night.